Okay, friends, let us turn to practice today and want to begin by inviting us, those of you who are here already, let's just to begin by, as we like to say in this practice, to assume a posture, position of dignity. What do we mean by that? As my friend and teacher, Rabbi Sam Feinsmith, likes to say, the body, the mind follows the body. So for our meditation today, I want to invite us to take that position that where our body represents a position of dignity, of honor, of respect, where we're respecting ourselves, honoring ourselves. So not slumped over, not slouched. This is my normal way of being when I'm sitting, but actually letting the spine be as erect as possible and maybe rolling the shoulders back to open the chest and the heart space, really making space there. And if possible, letting the feet rest on the floor to feel the support of the floor, pressing the crown of the head towards the ceiling or the sky. Whatever position feels like you're really honoring your body. And we'll see if the mind can follow as well. And the theme of our sit today is going to be the quality, the midah of kavod, which means honor, respect, dignity. And we get that from this week's Torah portion in the encounter between Jacob and Esau, the reunion of these two brothers who, after 20 years, are going to experience some kind of reconciliation. 20 years earlier, Esau was out to get Jacob, and Jacob ran away back to the homeland, ancestral homeland, for 20 years, and is on his way back, and of course, has his famous wrestling match with the anonymous person at night, this dark night of the soul. And as he emerges from that encounter with whoever that is, whether it's himself, his shadow side, or maybe even Esau himself, or Esau's shadow side or representative, the two brothers meet and they embrace. And Jacob says to Esau, Ra'iti fanecha kirot pnei Elohim. Seeing your face is like seeing the face of God. What does it mean to see the face of God, or to have an experience as if we were seeing the face of God, which is really what Yaakov says. It's like seeing the face of God. And of course, later in the Torah, we learn that human beings are not able to see the divine face to face. We would die. We can get a glimpse, we could have an intuition, we could have a sense. See the face of the divine. It's the closest encounter we can have to recognizing the divine presence in each other and in ourselves. And this, it seems to me, is what is threatened in the world in which we're living. Capacity to see the divine image in ourselves and in each other. So for today's meditation, today's sit, let's do a deeper dive into the midah of kavod. The word kavod is used in relation to the divine as a kind of manifestation of a palpable, really felt sense of the divine presence, not an intellectual idea or an abstraction, but a palpable sense of being in the presence of the divine, which leaves us speechless, beyond words. And the rabbis referred to the cloud which guided the Israelites through the wilderness on their trek, their 40-year trek, as the Anane HaKavod, clouds of kavod, clouds of glory, clouds of presence. And when Moses wanted to know God most intimately, Moses said to God, Harini na et kavodecha, please reveal to me your kavod, your essence. And the Hebrew word kavod finally has a connotation of weightiness, of heft, of significance. So as we're sitting, maybe with your eyes closed, if you've closed them, or if you prefer to just have a soft focus, that's okay too. I want to bring kavod into our body, just to feel the weight of our own being, our own physical self. Let yourself sink into your chair or your seat. Give yourself over to gravity. Feel the earth hugging you, holding you tight. And just let everything drop for this Shabbat. Let's set everything down. On Shabbat, there's no effort required on our part. We can just rest and set down the weight, the emotional weight, the physical weight. Put it down as best we can. So in our body, we can just let our arms dangle, let our hands rest, feel supported by the lap or the thighs, just without lifting at all. Letting the legs be heavy. Releasing and dropping down, letting the muscles of the face and the neck and the shoulders relax, and let everything just drop down. Allow it to be held. See if you can experience the divine presence in your body. Just being a physical being has its own kavod, its own inherent dignity. When each of us goes, Jewish tradition teaches we're to be treated with kavod hamet, to honor the dead. The body is to be treated with kavod until it's placed into the earth. Our bodies are worthy of kavod. So whatever your opinion about the current state of your body, honor it just as it is. It is honorable. I want to invite us to bring some special attention to our faces. And with the faces too, letting everything just relax and drop. The weight and tension in the jaw or in our foreheads. If you'd like, if it's helpful, you can even just give your forehead a little massage to soothe it and drop the worry, drop the anxiety, drop the grief. Let it be absorbed. Imagining our face as being like the face of God. Imagining someone saying that to us. To see your face is like seeing God's face. See how that lands with you. See if you can allow that to be so. See what that evokes for you. There's the Jewish tradition that sees the Hebrew letter Aleph as representing the divine presence, and the long line of the Aleph being our noses, and the two smaller yuds that attach to that, Vav being the eyes. So imagine an Aleph on your face, your nose, your eyes. Each face inscribed with the Aleph as a reminder of being a being of infinite worth, infinite dignity. The whole universe in each of us. And I'll read a poem, one of my favorite poems, as we're sitting. That's called Concerning the Atoms of the Soul. And then we'll just sit for about 10 minutes. It's by John Glenn Day. You'll all get a copy later. Concerning the Atoms of the Soul. Someone explained once how the pieces of what we are fall downwards at the same rate as the universe. The atoms of us falling towards the center of whatever everything is. And we don't see it. We only sense their slight drag in the lifting hand. That's what weight is, the communal process of falling. Furthermore, these atoms carry hooks like burrs, hooks catching like hooks, like clinging to like. And that's what keeps us from becoming something else. And why, early in love, we sometimes feel the tug of the heart snagging on another's heart. Only the atoms of the soul are perfect spheres with no means of holding on to the world, or perhaps no need for holding on. And so they fall through our lives, catching against nothing, like perfect rain. And in the end, he wrote, they mix in that common well of light at the center of whatever the suspected center is or might have been. So the atoms of ourselves are falling towards the center of whatever everything is. That's what weight is, that shared process of atoms falling and catching on each other. And then there are the atoms of the soul that are falling as well, but do not catch or hold on. They just pass through us. So I want to invite us to sit for the next 10 minutes with that beautiful imagery of our experience of our physical being, of our experience of gravity and of weight being a sign, being a signal of the divine presence, of the unfolding of life taking place in our very bodies, and also the atoms of the soul, which are also present and which we can perceive and feel, but which are free of gravity and shining. Let's sit for the next 8 minutes or so together in silence with our own kavod, with our own dignity, with our own sense of divine presence on our face and in our body. The mind wanders away, and just come back to sensations of sitting in your chair, on your sofa, or on your cushion. Sensations of the feet on the floor, temperature of the room against your skin. You're just noticing kavod, divine presence in our physicality, in our bodies, in our weight, and letting our bodies just relax and sink, drop down, rest. And we can notice kavod as well in the breath, in the soul, watching the air, the breath pass in and arrive. Fill our lungs, fill our belly, permeate our bodies. An intermingling of the physical and the immaterial, the spiritual. And both are manifestations of kavod, the visible and the invisible aspects of ourselves and of this world. The last minute or so of our practice together, I want to invite you to imagine or see if you can attune yourself to the energy radiating from your face outward. From that olive. Manifesting that kavod out into the world. Treat ourselves, each person, each creature we meet with dignity, with respect, with awareness of divine presence. As we do that, I want to invite you, as we close, if your eyes have been closed, to begin to let them open. And if you are not on gallery view, we don't often do this, but to switch to gallery view if you're comfortable. And to take a look, just maybe scroll through, and just to see each face as Jacob saw Esau's face. See your face is to see, like seeing the face of God. Whereas my friend Jonathan Kliegler likes to say, which I think he learned from Reb Solomon, you look divine. Which one of you looks divine? You can see the aleph on each person's face. So scroll through, you see that Vav and the two Yuds, and wish each other Shabbat Shalom. And we bring the practice to an end by sealing it as we do every day, offering those of you who are in mourning, or if you're observing a yard site, or if it's your custom to recite the Mourner's Kaddish, to please do so. You can put the name or names of those you're honoring in the chat box now. If you're not reciting Kaddish, if you are able to, we really hope you can stay present for those who are, and offer your full presence and support to those who are in mourning. Invite you, if you are reciting Kaddish, to join me by rising in body or in spirit to, and you can unmute at this time. Yitgadal, Yitkadash, Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Yalna, Tibrach, Yivukei, Yamlich,
Ibrah,
Yivukei, Chayechon, Yomechon, Chaye, Dechol, Israel, Ba'agalah,
Behold Israel,
Amen.
Shemei Rabban, Barach,
Hey Shemay,
Imamel Maya,
Morach,
Barach, Ishtabach, Rabbi La'ela Nikol B'Shirata Tad Nechemata Iran Ba'alma Amen.
Amen.
Amarabba Im Shemaya Imalinu Amen. Sed Shalom B'Mamad Sed Shalom Beinu Israel Kol Yoshvei Tzedel Amen.
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 And friends, thank you so much for joining us today. Thanks, Jordan. You take the cottage screen down. Thanks. And thanks for joining us today. If you're leaving now, just want to wish you a sweet Shabbat, as sweet as possible. These challenging times, but we all really need the restorative potential of Shabbat. So I hope you will have some of that over Shabbat, and that you'll join us again next week. We'll have a full week of practice. We'll be back here on Monday at our usual time. And of course, the yoga studio will be open at 11 on Monday morning. Thanks to Jordan Pollock for holding our space. And I'm happy to stay on and respond to questions, or if you just want to share reflections on your experience with practice today, you're welcome to do so. And Jordan, thanks for sharing the source sheet, which I'll share as well in a moment. But I do want to go back over that prayer. Here's the prayer, the poem, I'm sorry, is in the source sheet. I wanted just to not be distracted by looking at the source sheet. So I hope that was okay, but you have access to, I'll share it myself here. So this, of course, is all based, this meditation on kavod, on honor, dignity. It's based on this idea of recognizing the divine presence, the kavod, the innate dignity of the other, based on this phrase in the encounter between Jacob and Esau, Ra'iti fanecha kirot pnei Elohim. Really struck me, especially this year reading, recognizing the kirot, which means is like seeing the face of God. So I wanted to point that out. And here's the poem concerning the atoms of the soul. That is just really something that stays with me. I loved this, whether it's scientifically true or not. Maybe one of you can weigh in on that. I'm not sure. But it works very powerfully for me as a metaphor of the pieces of what we are as these atoms falling downwards at the same rate as the universe, being part and parcel of the universe to experience our physical being and the impact of gravity as a manifestation of divine presence. And yet we don't see it, because they're atoms, of course. We can feel the slight drag in the lifting hand. So if you want to lift your hand with me, you can feel that, feel the atoms catching. Love the idea of these atoms kind of attaching to each other, like clinging to like. And that's what makes us who we are, as opposed to someone else. And I also, of course, love this line, early in love, we sometimes feel the tug of the heart snagging on another's heart. It's such a great line. But the atoms of the soul, such as they are, if they are atoms, are perfect spheres. They don't hold on. They are fluid. They permeate everything, like perfect rain, all through our lives, catching against nothing, like perfect rain. And I love the sense of being able to feel the atoms of the soul kind of constantly passing through us, cleansing us, washing us, restoring us. It's a beautiful image. So I'm happy to share that. I've shared that before, if some of you may remember, but it's one of my all-time favorites. All right, I'm just going to take a look to see. Yeah, Gail, I don't quite understand the idea of atoms in one soul either. I don't know that it has to work. The material, the immaterial. Mirror's writing, I felt the atoms of my neshama soul floating up rather than down. Like that too. Like that too. There's the, just to go back to the previous week, of Jacob's ladder of the angels ascending and descending on the ladder. And we also have this concept from the prophets of the divine energy influx of Ratzov Shov, of running and go and returning, coming back and forth. I think that basically for me, what it's about is this awareness of some dynamic that has taken place, this energy that is present. Very powerful for me. What does the entity you mean? And the poet means when you say soul. I understand heart, mind, body, but what is my soul? So I would invite others to weigh in on that question as well. I'll say for myself, that I think of the soul, the neshama, as that aspect of my being that is beyond the physical, beyond the emotional, beyond the intellectual, kind of just the essential self, which is being revealed, which is of the divine, that divine animator, the connection to the divine. Each of us probably have a different explanation or understanding of that, if in fact we have a sense of having a soul. I tend to think of it, in a very energetic sense of that it's an energy that that is present, that one we can perceive in others, that we can perceive in the world. For me, I can, for people who are deceased, loved ones who's deceased, I can feel their souls very palpably present in a number of different ways. So I'd be interested to see how others might answer that question about what the soul is. Thanks, Eileen. I smiled, imagining the olive on my face. Scrolling through these beautiful comments in the chat. Thank you all. Yeah. Harris wrote, the poem acknowledges we share atoms. Solidity may be only illusion. We're composed of atoms in constant motion. Yeah. I don't, maybe someone else also knows this better than I, but how much of what we see as solid or physical is made up actually of space, that the matter itself is such a tiny aspect of what we perceive as physical and real. I guess maybe those are the atoms of the soul. Thanks to each of you who are sharing your reflections on the soul. Okay, well, we're heading into Shabbat, and as you know, on Shabbat there is this beautiful Jewish tradition that we're endowed with an additional soul, which I like to think of as meaning that basically that we're setting aside time to grow in our awareness of the soul. So this is a great segue for us to move into Shabbat. I hope it will be re-ensouling for you, renewing of your soul, reconnecting with your soul, and grateful for the blessing and privilege to share this practice with you today. So thanks to you, Jordan. I want to wish a refuah shlema to all those in need, of course, and we hope to see you all back here on Monday at our usual time. Many blessings, everyone. Shabbat shalom.